Hello, creatives, community, and kind folks. Welcome to RPG with DBJ. I am your host, DBJ, on this Mind Fuel Monday. And after having received, um, purchasing, and going through a quick overview of this new release for Blades in the Dark, I have to say this game is a masterclass. And so, not specifically talking about deep cuts in Blades in the Dark, but why I think Blades in the Dark is such a foundational game. We're going to talk about that. But first, I understand I didn't release this out to many people, so I'm sure it's going to be it's we will have our usual brilliant individuals coming along on the station. But for right now, let's get our introduction out of the way and get into why I think Blades in the Dark, why you should even own Blades in the Dark, even if you don't want to play it. So I was going to make a list of the things, foundational things that I love about Blades in the Dark and why I believe that this game has such brilliant methods of combining both the narrative of fictional play and and um, the mechanics and the way the game flows. And I said, no, you know what? Because more likely than not, I get to like double digits and then realize I'm going to still keep going. So we're going to be very free flowing here. I just happen to have this up here just to show off the cover of this new PDF. Apparently, John Harper doesn't really have plans to make this a print version, but if you're a self-publisher, I'm sure you can be convinced to at least have this print on demand. This is the new, and yes, there is a little tongue in cheek, right? Blades in the dark, deep cuts. You get it, right? Um, and uh, this has been this began as a bit of a tribute to his playing of Blades in the Dark and what John Harper, the designer of this, uh, has many what he calls modules in this 60-ish page document. What's more like 100 and something pages. Right now, I have it in spread view, so it is as if the book was spread open, and there's so many different ways of modifying the game that he's played throughout the years, from slowing advancement and things like that. 13 new innovations, 27 factions, over 100 heritage and background options, a catalyst, um, a collection of 6 systems for the game, such as modified advancement to slow the rate down. Strangely enough, in most games, they want to give players not only more options, but to make them more powerful. But it's actually better for the game. Revised harm and trauma downtime system, new action system, and things like that. And the reason why I wanted to highlight this particular release and not necessarily go over the release itself. Sorry, there are other more brilliant people than myself to go over this release, but to highlight this game in general for individuals that are interested in this kind of gameplay and this kind of game style, because Blades in the Dark is just it just has some brilliant working. Now, for those who do not own the game, you can actually take a look at this game for free. You can. It is not only is it um, free in the sense of all the rules are online. There is a game SRD and an OGL for this game. So someone who is interested in taking a look at the game and the rules and such, and it's not necessarily rules light. It does use a pool of D6s, but it's not necessarily rules light. It's not complicated. It's intricate. I know that sounds bizarre, but yeah. And if you're a fan of it, please please help John Harper out, you know, for the game and such. But anyway, there is an SRD, and it gives you the basics of the rules, the characters, crew, scores, downtime, and whatnot. And there's so many things. So and there's also the Forged in the Dark. So if you like the rule set, but you want to come up with your own um, setting, we have a Band of Blades is a game about warriors coming back from war and trying to get back home. We have, of course, Blades in the Dark Deep Cuts, which was dropped basically without fanfare, and I'm sure it's making its rounds with many people who are analyzing it. We have Girl by Moonlight. Yes, it's it is a young girls with magical powers and the conflicts between each of them as they confront dangers um, in the dark. And there's Scum and Villainy, sci-fi. It is what's the term? Not Star Wars, uh, not Serenity, or what's the other term? Oh, you guys get it. Yeah, whatever. A Fistful of Darkness, Western version of it, and Nocturne, which I don't know anything about. Torch in the Dark, Dead Lords Have Risen, single player RPG Forged in the Dark. Uh, a State Second Edition. Step inside a Baroque urban nightmare, the world of a state. And Adrenaline, modern day heist. Asphalt and Trouble, uh, Road Warrior, and Fury Road. Anyone? And Beam Saber, giant robots, and the pilots that pilot them. And then we have a Bloodstone, Brinkwood. There's a bunch of these. The Blood of Tyrants. Building rebellion that will overthrow the blood-soaked vampires that oppress and dominate your world. Mask up, spill blood, drink the rich. Bump in the Dark. Cyberpunk. Cyber plus punk. But anyway, and there's many more of these, right? There are many more of these Forged in the Dark. Court of Blades, Crash Cart, Crescent Moon, External Containment Bureau, Minutes to Midnight, Mountain Home. Nasty, Brutish, and Long. Rebel Crown, Runners in the Shadows, Sea of Deadmen, and Slug Blaster. Now, many of these games, there's a good reason why you see many of these games created by Forged in the using the rules to create a Forged in the Dark game. Yes, there is a Forged in the Dark license and Forged in the Dark logo you can actually download if you want to design your own version of it. So, why all these games, and why in the world is this important? So, Blades in the Dark happens to be a game that has a lot of rules modules, and let's begin with the first one. Um, one of the great things about Blades in the Dark is that it is a game. We see this happening in cycles in the tabletop role playing sphere, where people say, "I want to play an evil campaign," and Blades in the Dark really lets you really embraces the idea that you are players who live on the edge. You are absolutely positively um, the worst of the worst, and you are the living embodiment of of criminals committing heists, living in a dangerous world, and yeah, it is. You are evil. Now, mind you, yes, I know in tabletop role playing games, we have our own problems with the idea of like what is evil? What about the philosophical reasons of evil? What about the morality and ethics and blah blah blah? Okay, moving past the actual definition of what evil means, essentially, it's people playing against society. It's committing crimes and um, being proactive in doing things for your own self self-satisfaction while harming other people. And this game really embraces that. What just happened? What in the world? Huh. Hmm. Looks like it took my face away. Oh well, that is really bizarre. Okay, we'll go back to looking at my ugly mug, and my face won't show back up again. All right, we'll do it this way then. Come on. Hmm. I'm not exactly sure what's happening. Okay, we'll have to turn that off then. There we go. Sorry. So number one is if you want a master class in running an evil campaign, please run Blades in the Dark. Consider using Blades in the Dark. Blades in the Dark has many techniques to corral, massage, um, incentivize players to engage in bad behavior, but still operate as a unified group. One of the methods they do this, and I'm going to start calling these modules in a sense of, or frameworks that you could pick and choose this for not only this game, but any other role playing game that you have out there. So, one of the cool things in this game is they have a crew. So, the players work together to create a criminal organization. Now, in the beginning, that criminal organization doesn't have many members, and you are at the bottom of the totem pole amongst other criminals in this world. But that's okay. Um, the unifying ability, the unifying fact of creating a character sheet that all the players have input in, what capabilities this crew has, what their mission is, and then being able to use this unified crew to draw from is really good at getting players who normally shouldn't really be trusting each other to engage in a world of criminality and heists and scoundrel activities to work together to survive. So that's one thing that you can do. Create something where all the players have input, and then collectively they can draw from that to do things in the game world, whether your game is about heist and criminality or not. Um, Second of all, the world is bounded, and what I mean by that, as a rules as a design module, the game world of Blades in the Dark is a neo-Victorian realm surrounded by walls, and so it is a crab in the barrel kind of thing. And so there are no safe places for the players to go. And in many ways, the game really doesn't incentivize players to be careful. In order to get ahead you either are trying to scramble and get ahead in life, or you're falling behind. There is no middle ground. And so therefore, hey, hey, hey. So therefore, in Blades in the Dark, it is incentivized for players to do things that are going to put themselves in danger to survive the harsh climate of this world. And making as far as a game designer, to get the players to be proactive is really great in this game. I remember playing old Vampire the Masquerade, White Wolf games, and the setting of that is very similar in the sense of it's very difficult to balance yourself out. You're either um, in a business sense, you're either getting big quick or you're dying. There is no middle ground. Um, Game rules. The the game is not complicated, right? Yeah, incentivizing careless sounds like a blast. Yes. Um, Here's another rules module for Blades in the Dark. Like I said, I didn't make a big list of this. I didn't make a list really at all, but I noticed these things from Blades in the Dark, and why on this channel and many other channels people keep bringing it up. So characters have a stat known as stress. Now there are other tracks to, like in most games they have hit points or some kind of wound level. In this they have stress, And then there are other things. There's something called trauma and harm, but let's stick with stress, okay? And in order to heal back your stress, or technically it is actually removing stress. So instead of counting large hit points and going downwards, it actually starts at zero and goes up. But despite that, as your character gains stress, we understand that at a certain point, bad things will happen. In order to clear your character to get back to, I'm going to say, your base zero, to get back to normal, the healing in this game happens when you engage in your vices. So every character, because remember, you are a criminal. Okay, you're engaging. You're living on the edge of society. There is no, hey, I'm a normal person with pretty reasonable desires. No, no, you're playing a criminal, and therefore, to heal, you must engage in your vices. Vices are basically overindulging in things that are bad for you: drugs, gambling, sex, violence, um, things of that nature, your baser instincts, and you heal by engaging in your vices. Now, mind you, there's a part of the game where it's like if you can overindulge in your vices, maybe you spend too much money or you're in debt because of gambling, maybe your your sexual exploits aren't desired by the partners you've picked, and you leave yourself open to many vulnerabilities. Maybe you leave your heart open, or someone takes advantage of you, or you let your defenses down or something. Yes, that can happen, but the whole point is, many role-playing games expect you to turtle up to heal. We're going to do an 8-hour rest, and we're going to put up a shield or hide in a corner or run away or leave the space station or whatever. And in this game, no, no, no. To heal, you must go out and expose yourself. And that's really good for a game where uh, your characters are expected to live in a dangerous world. That is very well. Uh, Criminals engaging in vices. Is this like that whole wretched verse? I'm not sure. I'm not. Never heard of wretched verse. Um, Wretched verse. I've never heard of that from the Bible. Oh, it separated the word. Uh, Wretched role playing games. I haven't heard of that. Maybe. Hmm. I'm not gonna have to look that up. Thanks. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. No, I had never heard of that. Um. So, if you're on the same pathway, then yes, the answer to that would probably be yes. Okay. Now, I brought up stress, and here's something else that I think Blades in the Dark isn't the only game that has done this, but Blades in the Dark seems to have a lot of really great foundational elements that together. Yes, yes, that's exactly right. That is exactly right. Yeah, yeah. The gaming incentivizes you to do such a thing. Yeah, you want to heal? Yeah. Want to heal? Go to the brothel. Call up your you know your hit it and quit it, and that's it. Um, yeah, specific genders be damned. Engage. Yeah. Mm-mm-mm. Crazy. So plenty of role playing games have done this before, but I'm just talking about Blades in the Dark. Okay, so uh, on this channel and many other channels, and because Dungeons and Dragons is so common, we often talk about hit points and armor class. And what Blades in the Dark has done, and again, like I said, this is not new to this game, but it is in this game. Um, Renaming, recontextualizing, reusing, reskinning something to mean something else has been used in this game. So instead of hit points, we have stress. and we have trauma, we have wounds. I'm sorry, it's called harm. We have heat, and sometimes just recontextualizing what something is can really change how we engage with that element. So, in other words, we understand that like stress and like hit points, and I'm doing a comparison of the two, which I really shouldn't, but forgive me, that we often have an odd rationalization of what hit points really are. Yet in Blades in the Dark, when someone says calls it stress, we know what stress is. So in other words, stress technically isn't getting physically harmed. It is getting yourself stressed out, trying to commit crimes and not get caught. And unfortunately, in the game, if if you burn too much stress, you gain too much stress, and you commit certain crimes and you're noticed, you gain something called heat. Heat is when the city guards, the blue coats they're actually known as, which are technically just another gang, but you don't want to get caught by the blue coats. You don't want to draw heat. When you draw heat, things get worse for you. There are other um, criminals and other gangs out there who want to take your spot and confront you, and it makes perfect sense. And I think sometimes the idea of using hit points as a vector of loss may not work for every game. Sometimes you want to rename the number that when you gain or lose that thing, it gets worse for your game. Maybe it's better if your game has something known as reputation or renown, maybe endurance or luck or skin of your teeth would be a better term than using like hit points or wounds. Because, they often say hit points don't really represent your body, but then what does it mean when you're healed, right? It's like the wrong terminology. Um, yeah, Wretched by Red Room. Yep, I found that. Yeah, a setting where you're supposed to be as naughty as possible, and they got it all, and they got it in all the real life genres: noir, western, swashbuckler, sci-fi, etc. I didn't know that. I did not know that. I'm gonna look that up too. Yeah, Red Room is an indie RPG company by a Portuguese couple. They regularly make YouTube vids. Seem like cool people, but their vids only make sense if you already know all their stuff. Okay, too late. Gonna check it out. It's already up. Yeah, RPG Lulu, Substack. Yep, I see it. Itchy.io. Human resilience in the face of overwhelming odds and almost certain death. Game about isolation, fear, perseverance. Cool, 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 cool. It's not that old either. So, we bring ourselves to um, something else in Blades in the Dark, and that would be complications. Now we've seen John Harper admits that Blades in the Dark was made from Powered by the Apocalypse. For those who don't know, uh, Powered by the Apocalypse is an open rule set. It's really basically rolling 2d6, and I believe it's like if you roll 1 to 6, you fail. 7 to 9 is mixed. It's complicated, and then 10, 11, 12 is full success, critical success, or something like that. Blaze in the Dark doesn't use that, but basically, what Blaze in the Dark says, you know what? Most of the time, mathematically speaking, most of the time, you're going to get a mixed success. Now, here on the channel, I often use the term yes, no, if, and, or buts. I should make a T-shirt about that. Matter of fact, maybe I will design one. But yes, the yes, no, if, and, or buts that I love so much is a mixed success, because many times life and many of our the media that we embrace when it comes to characters performing certain actions, the ones that are the biggest and the best, we often um, let's see. We often love mixed success, something that complicates the life of our main character. And uh, mixed successes are a thing that many times um, gives us the opportunity to explain what is happening in the world, right? Meaning like you jump across the crevice, great, okay, but you didn't quite succeed, but you did succeed. So what happens? Maybe you hang on by your fingertips, or you landed on your stomach and you knock the wind out of you, and the enemy is right behind our main character and they're throwing spears or shooting flintlock pistols at this person who's dangling across the roof by their fingertips or whatnot. Maybe a person breaks into a safe. They sneak into a building, they break into the safe. The 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 documents are inside of the safe. They open up the safe, they see the documents, but guess what? It's written in a uh, code that needs to be deciphered. And it's like, damn, we went through all this to get this important information, and yet now we need to find somebody to help decipher that information. Or the same heist theory. We've seen this plenty of times in movies and television shows where someone um, alerts the guards because of something, and the or our main characters are sneaking into a building and they make some noise and the guards hear something. They're not really sure if they think someone's sneaking around, but they call their friend. Or it's the changing of the guard, or there's another crime happening at the exact same time the player our main characters are there, and they double the guard up, or it's so on and so forth. A lot of complications. Someone tries to pick a lock, right? And yes, many games are pass fail. Do you pick the lock? Yes, no. But in Blades in the Dark, it's like you go to pick the lock and your lock picking tool breaks in the lock. Now what? Or you open the door but you drop your equipment, it makes noise. Or you go to unlock the door and it sets off a timer, and you realize that in 30 seconds the room is going to catch fire because it dropped oil, and now they're going to drop a candle or something like that, and you realize that, or it releases a poisonous gas, and if you don't get out of the room in enough time, it's going to knock you out or whatever. And there's so many of these different complications, as well as many complications that happen after the heist. Rival gangs, enemies, loved ones who happen to stumble by, uh, law enforcement that just happens to be there, someone important in the character's life is, desires their attention while they're on these heists and things like that. And Blaze in the Dark has mixed successes. Many games, many indie games embrace mixed successes, and I love it. All right, here's another thing from Blades in the Dark. Uh, Style of play game rule that you might want to steal for yourself, and that is quantum gear. Blades in the Dark is a game designed where to get rid of the 45-minute to an hour and a half planning session that always goes to shit when the players want to um, perform a heist. Many times, in role playing games, the players are like, all right, let's stick together and let's come up with a plan. And the game master's sitting in the background going, shit, we, I've, we've been through this before. It's not going to work out this way, right? And mind you, we as players, we think we're better than we really are. None of us are professional thieves or criminals or assassins or drug dealers or whatever, right? We aren't organized crime members. We don't really know how that works, but our characters do. So the rules really embrace the idea that your characters are professionals. And one of those ways of doing that is called quantum gear. We're going to get to the flashback after this. But so quantum gear is you decide how much gear your character is going to carry. You're going to decide what your loadout is. And many times your loadout is like light, medium, heavy. And that you will have a number of slots. And what a really cool thing they do in Blades in the Dark is that you'll have about half your gear is very common, so all the player characters have access to this common gear. Maybe it's a grappling hook, maybe it's a lock picking tool, maybe it's a couple of coins, a cloak or something, a dagger, of course. and your character has access to these. And then there are specific pieces of gear, some of them vaguely arcane even, that are only available to you as a player. And there's a list of these things, maybe a dozen, maybe 20 items. But if you pick a light load, you have 3 items. You pick a medium, it's maybe 5 items, and then heavy might be 7 items. Now in the new release in Blades in the Dark Deep Cuts, he decided to add John Harper decided to add conspicuous and what's the other 2 of them. Conspicuous and I'm going to say uh, obscured. And what I like about that, I see you, Amon. What I like about quantum gear is that you don't need the players to go on a shopping spree. Players don't need to prepare what they're taking with them. Essentially, what happens is if you pick light gear, you just look like a regular person walking down the street. And then when you say, all right, when no, you know, there's party goers and revelers, it's late at night and they can hear music and my party members are with me, they're going to show cover. I'm going to slip down the alley and, oh, okay, you go down the alley and there's a locked gate. You say, well, I'm going to pick out lock picking tools. So out of your 12 items, let's say, you're going to quantumly go, of course I arrived with lock picking tools. So I'm going to put a check mark next to lock picking tools. I have that in my loadout. Great. So now from this point on, you have lock picking tools as your quantum gear. And now you have 2 more slots, so on and so forth. Now, through play, John Harper did mention that, not mention, but did add in like a conspicuous and concealment thing. Like, listen, you got to decide whether whether you're very conspicuous, meaning like people can notice what you're carrying, or it's concealed, because someone can say, I'm walking around with light gear, no one notices, and then you pick out a two-handed weapon that takes 2 slots, and it's like a rocket launcher on your back, and it's like, no, come on, that doesn't really make any sense, right? Or someone's dressed in like full battle armor or whatever. It's like, yeah, the authorities would probably stop you because no regular people are just walking around in regular clothes. Um, but I get it, right? You know, players like to play. Hackers gonna hack the game and try to get around a loophole. So yeah, that's how that works. And I like the quantum gear idea that, hey, you've got so many slots. Let's not go on another hour and a half shopping spree. Let's just say that when you get there, you have what you need, and when you say you have that item, you, you can't go backwards, right? And say, well, I never had rope on me. Well, you just used 50 feet of rope. Just mark down 50, just check mark the 50 feet of rope that your character would normally be prepared to carry and move on from there, right? Hey, now I've got poison. Now I've got a smoke bomb. Now I have forged documents. Now I have a sack of coin, a purse of coin or something. That's it. Amon says, I used as a DM often the argument that a player knows stuff and argue with the player with it. Like a trained alchemist should be able to take a sample without spilling stuff on their hands and the right equipment. Yep, I agree. I take the position that like your character is a professional, right? If you're a ranger in Dungeons and Dragons, if your character's a ranger, you know about survival, right? You're not gonna always forget stuff. You didn't say you were packing your gear. It's like, come on. That I remember as a kid, a teenager, we used to do dumb shit like that. Well, you didn't say you were doing this thing. It's like, come on, like your character is a professional. They know what they're doing, and to assume otherwise is pretty silly. Now, in times of stress, yeah, Allie, yeah, yeah. Now, in times of stress, I get it. So you could say, listen, your character is an excellent alchemist, but you're being rushed because you know there's enemies at the door and they've got like battle axes trying to chop the door down to get to you, and you are going through a cabinet to try to find what you're looking for. Under when you don't have the time, energy, or resources, I get die rolls, right? I get, oh, you might have spilled that thing. Oh, you forgot the thing. Oh, you couldn't get it in time. You didn't forget it. You knew it was sitting right there. You just knew that you would have to knock over a whole bunch of other dangerous chemicals to get to it or something. Yeah, and so I told them for stuff an alchemist chemist should do on a regular basis, don't get aggro check. Yeah. Yeah, yeah. It's like, come on. And listen, you really can't break a game that way, right? You know. Yeah, but stress and time restraints are a different topic. And I use TER or TERSE. My terse. I didn't make it up. Technically, technically, my mom gave it to me. To be honest with you, but it's like time, energy, resources, right? Those are the big three things that if you don't have those, then if you have those things, why are we rolling dice? You know, you don't make one skill roll to see if you can build a house. Building homes requires time, energy, and resources. And if someone makes a mistake, they just go and cut a new piece, or someone notices it, or it's not level, or whatever. You don't build a house and make one skill check and go, "You failed, house falls down." That's not how it works. When we drive to work, those of us that drive to work, the joke was the player was so stressed because I explained a puddle of water as liquid of unknown origin. Yeah. Hey, listen. You got to play that one. You got to play that one with someone with dark vision, right? You come across a you come across a puddle of liquid of unknown origin. The player's like, "Well, what is it?" You don't know. It's in black and white. Yeah. Is it blood? Is it acid? You don't know. Right? Yeah. Is it ink? Paint? Are you going to taste it? I had a dream I was eating Jello, but the taste I couldn't quite get until I tasted it because I dream in black and white. Great idea. Now let's get into flashbacks. Love myself some flashbacks, and strangely enough, it's a very simple concept. That is there a chance to abuse it? Yes, but there's an actual built-in guardrail for the flashback mechanism. So, what is a flashback? A flashback is the players. This is an example used very often. Players need to sneak into a place. Players come upon a door with a guard in front of that door. They need to get through that door. Now, many times, RA-77. Yeah, construction. Don't forget the BS bureaucratic. What was it? The BS bureaucratic money grabs in the background. Building anything, that's a ton of time and resource drain. Yeah. Hey, listen. We had In real life, we've seen places collapse because of people wasting time and energy and resources on not actually doing the thing. Yeah, we've seen that. Hello, Michigan, with your lead-filled brown water. Hi, hey, hi, hey. So yeah, you're right. Well, if other people steal your time, energy, and or resources, yeah, yeah, you could. It's easy for you to fail, and you don't even know it. Um, but the flashback, I think, is such an elegant method of doing a thing, especially when you were running a game of criminalized heists, and I feel like it can be spread for other things. So here's how a flashback mechanism works in Blades in the Dark. First of all, a player says to the person running the game master, whatever, "Hey, we are armed to the teeth. We look shady. We come across a guard who could very easily ring the bell." In a normal game, we would start talking about, I want to use deception, intimidation, bribery, or whatever to get the guard so we can go through the door. But wouldn't it be cooler if someone says, "Hey, I want to flash back to when I saw the guard at a local tavern. I sidled up next to him, purchased him a drink, slid over some cash, some coin, and bribed him to let us through on the day of the heist." Skill check, success. So we come back to present day. We walk up to the guard like does a double take, looks at me, puts his head down, leaves the keys on the desk, and walks away. We get in, right? Essentially, all a flashback is a skill check. Now, the the outcome of that skill check, good or bad, has an impact on present time. So if someone were to try to convince that guard and bribe that guard in the tavern, and the guard goes, I can't be bought, F you, then the player now in present day goes, ooh, we gotta turn around. He's I mean, you can't buy this person. If he sees us, he's gonna set the alarm off big time, right? And that may that may be a thing that the players, even though it works against them, that, how do I say this, the complications, the stakes get higher now, because one of the players was like, hey guys, hold on, I know this person and he can't be bought. It's even worse for us, it's going to be harder for us to break in. And so it's basically a skill check that happens. We are just contextualizing it happening in the past. Now, sometimes, now in the game, you have stress, and so you can use your stress, unlike hit points, as a your stress level goes higher. You burn stress if the game master says, "Hey, that's not a big deal. I'll let you do it without burning stress," and that can happen rarely. But there's other times where they say, there's no way. There's no way you've already snuck into the queen's chamber, put 5 firearms in there, already loaded, ready for you to use it. No. It's going to cost you like 3 stress for that to have even happened before this thing, right? Now it could be like in a mobster movie where you go to the front door and the criminals are like, this is neutral ground, no weapons, and you go, fine, take the weapons, and then you say to you grin at the game master and go, can I spend stress and say I've already been here weeks ago and put weapons in the restroom, behind the loo, and they go, he's like, yeah, that's a good idea. I'm going to make it. That's going to cost you 1 stress per firearm. Well, there's 3 of us. Can I spend 3 stress on that? Yeah, go ahead, go for it. I'm not going to even have you roll for it, but I'll have you spend that stress. Like, somebody's got to pay the cost on it. And the players like, how about we each pay one? No, no, no. I'll burn all the stress, right? And that could be a cool thing. I have a DM who has a D100 for a coin dice for a similar thing. Did I have the time to buy a few things that help me out off screen? Fill in the item name. Yeah, 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 yeah. And I think I get what you're saying there, right? Where you can you can have a list of quantum items and start to fill in that list or mark things off that list as you go along, so that you can't spam the list, right? It's just like flashbacks. You can't spam flashbacking. I've played with some people that wanted to do a flashback that was too complicated, and I was like, listen, y- the guardrail on doing a flashback is the skill check, right? Can this be accomplished with one roll of the dice? No. You're flashbacking to a whole movie, to a whole other 2-hour movie. Like, this is not happening, right? Make it something simple. Now, if you want to break it up into parts, that's fine, but you can't be like, okay, I want to flashback to when I purchased this new suit, and then and including the flashback, I want to meet most of the city guard, and include with that flashback, I'm gonna go to one of their homes and set explosives in their homes, and include it with the flashback. I'm going to find out where their loved ones live, and I'm going to have a list of their names on me, and include it with that same flashback. It's like, no, 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 no. It's got to be one skill check. The 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 context of it is really great. Hey, man, yeah, it goes on. I thought an item could be really handy, and I have the money to buy it and the opportunity because of a bit of off time where I didn't. Not so much. So I asked if my character could have thought of that on my behalf. Yeah, yeah, exactly. And that's where quantum gear comes from. The quantumness of it is, you have pockets or a backpack or something, and none of us knows what's in it until you pull that item out. And I used to play that too, where long before Blades in the Dark, it was like, I, can we not do the shopping spree? You're going on an adventure. Just write down on your character sheet, if you come across a hill, you're like, hey, we got this steep cliff, do I have rope? Yes. Write it down, mark off the gold, and you're done, right? Don't we're not going to nitpick all the crazy BS, right? Anything specific or handmade or um, impossible to have gotten without the aspects of adventuring, I'm like, no, you can't have that. Like, no, you can't have the jewels of the nobility in your backpack. Hell no. But you know, do you have a new pair of boots or something? Yes. The DM asks big or low. Uh D100, and if it won, it worked out. If not, it was worth the ask. Yeah. Oh, okay. Okay. And anybody that has a system like that is actually kind of cool. And it also cuts down, like I said, it cuts down on the shopping spree. It cuts down on the Mother May I isms of the game. What else is great in Blades in the Dark? Blades in the Dark has two vectors of success that are modifiable and sometimes a little difficult to explain. So here's my simplified explanation of effect and what's it called? Uh, uh, cost and effect. So one side is on, I guess you could call it stakes and effect. So one side belongs to the player, the other side belongs to the game master. The player wants a bigger effect. The game master punishes you with raising the stakes. And so in the game, we have a discussion before the dice are rolled. And mind you, this isn't new to Blades in the Dark, but it is part of this game. We don't, in Blades in the Dark, you don't roll dice first and then discuss what happens. Instead, we say, this is what's going to happen. Now we start going into our character sheet and our options. How do we mitigate, change, modify, avoid the thing that's going to happen? So going back to the guard, hey, if you walk around the corner, you failed your flashback didn't work out the way you wanted to, and you realize um, the captain of the guard is the person you tried to bribe, and you're like, shit, and he's on guard today. Ah, sorry guys, and like, that's all right, that's all right, at least we know we got to figure another way into the building. Okay, we can't go through the front door and we can't convince the guards or whatever. Okay, so now we already know the stakes are high, but someone says, hey, I want to make we need another way to sneak into the building, and the game master can say, all right, because the stakes have risen, you have very few options. You can maybe you can go into the sewer. You can use your grappling hooks and climb up. You can, uh, I don't know, go to the back gate or something and try to pick the lock in the back gate. But understand that um, it's not that you won't succeed in getting in the building. That's not what we're going to say. But because of your failed flashback, there are more guards than ever on high alert. So this means that if you attempt to do this, most of your crew is going to get caught. And the players can react to that. They can say, our whole group, there's like five of us. All five of us aren't going to be able to sneak in at one time. So we're going to have to kind of split the party, right? One of us is going to use the grappling hook and climb up because we know that if all five of us try this, we're going to get caught. Yeah, at least we know the captain of the guard is, exactly. And you know they can't be purchased. Although, if you're a creative player, you could actually find out why. Why is this in a city of criminality? Why is this person so honest? Maybe they are making up for a failure. Maybe, right? And maybe this guard now, who we didn't even bother giving this person a name. Maybe this person is very important in this player character's life now. Maybe they see each other on the street and the guards got is like out for this person. Maybe this person becomes an NPC. Maybe later on, this guard that can't be purchased now has a debt to pay back. They have a sick nephew. They have a gambling debt. They are in trouble, and now you as a criminal go, you didn't want to play with me before, but now you're coming to me. He's breaking a party. Yeah, splitting the party. Yeah, and listen, Blades in the Dark lets you split the party. Pretty good, pretty good. Um, yeah, pretty funny too. There, Ava, alley oops. So, Blades in the Dark has a way of altering the effect and the stakes. So effect is how effective is the player going to be even if they make the roll, right? So, if a player says, I want to set black powder explosives and destroy the building, did they have enough time to set all the explosives? Did they have enough explosives in the first place? Do they have the skill to place those barrels of black powder strategically to knock the building down? Um, do they did they get the black powder? Did they mix the black powder themselves or get it from a reputable individual? And if the player has been able to do all of those things, they're going to have a great effect. If they just went into a random warehouse, found some barrels, and we just assumed it was black powder, and it could be filled with honey or wine or something, maybe their effect isn't going to be as great as they want to. Right? Yeah. Yeah, maybe the guard becomes a named character, so the party explores it. Exactly. And Blades in the Dark really, like us talking out loud here, Blades in the Dark really embraces the idea of liquid narrative, quantum narration, right? Like we had no intention of making this honest guard a member, an important who's this? Who are all these people on Twitch? Hey, hi, hey, hi. Unless you're bots. I'm going to assume you guys are bots unless you're not. You're going to have to prove to me that you're not an AI robot invading our chat here. So, um, yeah, barrel full of honey. Yeah. Not the explosive I expected, but not less able to create chaos, right? Yeah. Hey, listen, you knock over a barrel of honey, that's awesome. Thanks, guys. Over there, like beep bop boop 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 boop. Nope, not bots. No. Yeah, you know what? Robots would say that, wouldn't they? They would say that. No, I'm joking. So, uh, so fun. You know what? Just because of that, fine. You want to be like that over there? Fine. Sorry, had to do it. You made me do it. So stupid. Oh man. Okay. So what else can we steal, borrow from Blades in the Dark? There's so many other things. One of the things that like that was very loud. Sorry about that. Yeah, like, hey, listen, you asked for it. One of the things that Blades in the Dark does as well, and this is very slight, very minor, but let me find a Blades in the Dark character sheet, and it's probably on there. Let's see if we can find. Uh, yeah, let's find a character sheet online and see if I can show something to you. Oh, mm, character playbook. Can we get the character playbook up here? Yeah, yeah. Um, so in Blades in Dark, and other powered by the apocalypse games, they have something known as a playbook, and oh, it doesn't let you see it. So in the playbook, it gives you um, attributes, and oh yeah, there we go. I got a list of them, and in those attributes that it allows you to take a look at, they are very vague. Um, they are mutable. Hey, what's up? From Australia. Hey, Jack Square Peg. Thank you very much for that. Yeah. Thank you. I'm glad you found it. First of all, thank you for us finding the stream and hanging out. Um, this channel is all about an idea you can steal, mind fuel, kind of like hanging out at the gaming table in person, like before or after the game, even though it's like on the interwebs. But that's basically the vibe we get here. So if we take a look at the at the stats there, and I'm glad you're pro GM. That's awesome. If you take a look at the stats that are above, where it says action ratings, you'll see these are the 12 actions slash approaches slash stats slash methods that are based in Blades in the Dark. And if we read through them, attune, command, consort, finesse. Let's see if we got to highlight them. Highlight them. Um, it doesn't get it. Anyway, hunt, prowl, skirmish, study. Oh, I forgot finesse, survey, sway, tinker, wreck. This isn't strength, dex, intelligence. What ends up happening in Blades in the Dark is you want to perform an action, and those actions are already written on the character sheet. Those actions are your attributes. And so the action and attribute are combined together so that we narratively understand how you're doing something. So your character gets into a knife fight in a back alley. So what action are you going to do to defend yourself? Or rather, how are you going to beat the ass of these thugs that are surrounding you? Well, wreck sounds like it's the most common thing to do, but skirmish is probably better. Now, a creative player can say, wait a minute, I'm being surrounded. How about I use finesse or study in a knife fight or even prowl in a knife fight? How about sway? Can sway be used in a knife fight? Or survey can be used in a knife fight? And the answer to all those questions is yeah. In a way, the game, one of the brilliant parts, another part of a Blaze in the Dark is that it feels like the player is breaking the game by using actions on their character sheet to do a thing, because they're probably going to pick the thing that they're best at, right? My character is best at hunting or studying or sway or command or finesse. Not really good at skirmish and wreck. So how am I going to survive this knife fight? And as a player, I'm going to I'm going to manipulate the situation and pretend like they think I'm surrounded, but instead I knew I was going to be surrounded. And I'm going to pretend like, you know what? I set you guys up because I have all my allies surrounding you. I knew you were going to be in this dark alley. You think I'd walk down this dark alley by myself and be surrounded by 6 guys with rusty knives? Pfft, I'm not that stupid, right? Even though maybe you were. And so finesse or sway may be the perfect thing. Or maybe you want to find out who's the weakest member of this group. Like there's a number of these people, and usually when you got large numbers, there's somebody who's the weakest member, who's the weak link, because I'm gonna kick that person in the chest and get the hell up out of here, right? So is that study or survey, right? And all of these things are built into the game. It's not breaking the game by the player trying to massage the situation so that it fits their best concept. And I like that a lot. Jack Square Pigs. Jack Square Pig says, "Yeah, we definitely have a shared passion to teach folks stuff. Excited to learn more. Have fun." Oh, well, thank you so much, and thank you for so much for being here from across the other side of the world. I appreciate that. Turquoise Vixen says, "Yeah, I should head off too, but I hope to catch your future streams. Take care. Have a lovely time. Tell me what to do. You have a lovely time, and thank you very much for finding it here." Turquoise Vixen, cool. What a cool name. 57. I like the concept of placing a problem or situations before my players and wait for the consequences of chaos to happen. Blades in the Dark really embraces that. And you don't need rules for that. It just is an awesome thing to just make problems without solutions and let the players perform that thing. And say, yep, with the right arguments. Yeah. Yep. The right arguments. Yep. My wizard would use the near book and smack the shit out of the attacker, right? Yeah, exactly. I didn't expect that. But my witch might observe them and go on horror mode. Yeah. So what do you do to get out of this? Well, I vomit up green bile and my eyes start bleeding, and turn my head around 3 times while floating off the ground. Right? And it's like, yeah, they um they should have wore their brown pants. Something like that, right? But it's kind of funny though. And truism. Lastly, to let you guys leave out of here, Blades in the Dark has so many cool little features, and it's just amazing. Something else that I like about Blades in the Dark, and I know this will rub people the wrong way, but and Powered by the Apocalypse does this. I'm just using Blades in the Dark and Forged in the Dark games as our framework here, and that is we can expand and contract dice rolling as much as we like. So the back alley, player comes out into the back alley surrounded by six wannabe thugs, right? Your player is a professional. These they're just scavengers. They don't have a plan. They're just here with a lot of numbers. And you as the player, this isn't really the game, right? This is a scene in the game. The player is in the wrong neighborhood at the wrong time, and we don't really need to spend a lot of time here. But as a game master, I want to reinforce to the players: listen, when you guys split up, it's not a good idea, right? But I don't expect the player to just up and die. Okay, so instead of pulling out stat blocks for six thugs and rolling initiative and figuring out how many hit points they have, and then roll, and the other players are twiddling their thumbs, we can get this whole encounter done with one simple die roll. We can every single combat doesn't need all combat in Blades of the Dark doesn't need to be the way you think it is. We can describe it, we can zoom in or zoom out as much as possible. And I can say to the player, listen, just letting you know it's dangerous here. You get to decide how you're going to navigate these thugs. And the player might, like I said before, well, do I want to use sway or skirmish or whatever? And say, okay, listen, if you fail this roll, you're not going to die. You're going to be stabbed up, and there's a good chance you're going to have to find somebody to stitch you up in the dark. And like I said, these are rusty knives, so chance of infection, yeah, if you fail. Now, mixed, hey, you get away, but guess what? They're gonna alert they're probably gonna let somebody else know. They know you're here, which means they know your gang is here, which means this is just gonna be rough for you. But if you succeed, you're a badass. You tell me what happens. And then we just roll the dice once. Roll the dice. Oh, I won. I got a critical success. Cool. Tell me how your ass gets out of here. Like, all right, my character really isn't a knife fighter, but I know who the weakest person is. So I pull out my thick tome of a book that I always carry with me, and I slam it in the face of the weakest guy, and I literally run over his body, running down the alleyway. And they're like, okay, cool. Now what happens next? All right, there's a wooden fence in front of me, and I go one, two steps, jump over it as they chase me down the alley, and then I make a sharp left turn, and I slip into a sewer grate, and they run past me, not knowing that I escaped from them or something, right? And we could just narrate it, and the other players like, "Woo, you got away from them," but man, what happens if they alert someone? And you could say all of that scene in just one die roll, and I love it because you could actually have dozens of fights, dozens of encounters, and just wrap them up explain them in a narrative, but use them in a single die roll. Okay, you're gonna sneak in the city, make a die roll. Okay, boom. I Jason Bourne my way into it. I walk past a stall with a scarf. I snatch the scarf and wrap it around my neck. I walk past someone else, bump into them. Um, I steal their medallion or trinket or something that I see everyone carrying, and I attach it to the lapel of my jacket because it makes me look like I fit in. And oh, is that a baseball cap, cap or something? Not baseball, Victorian era or something like that. I take the tricorn cap and I put that over my head, and then as I turn the corner, I stoop my shoulders a little bit, take some grime off the wall and rub it on my arms and cheeks and stuff, and make it look like I've been downtrodden or whatever, and blah blah blah. Things like that. Oh, the jacket I have, I quickly slip it off and turn it inside out. And blah. Yeah, you can do that in just simple die roll. And as a matter of fact, if somebody's that cool, and a player comes up with a really cool description, as a game master, I might be like, you know what, put the dice down. You do it. That's badass. I like that. You do it. Funny Matilda is the shortest member of her party. Funny when that is probably the scariest member in the team. Yeah, yeah, exactly. So much chaos, anger, small boat of chaos. A polo hammer also could do some damage. Yeah, yeah, why not? A polo hammer, yeah. You're like, yeah, I'm not on horseback and I'm not hitting the ball. Well, hey, I might be hitting the ball this time, right? I don't know what you yell out when you're playing polo, but yeah, you know what to do that. So anyway, um, wanted to just talk about Blades in the Dark, talk about the some of the great things that are built into the game, and collectively in the game, it's really cool. Lastly, you know what? I'll even mention this one. Um, the last part of not last, surely not the least, is downtime. Blades in the Dark has an excellent downtime system. And how I would incorporate this in other role playing games that don't have really good intrinsic downtime. So um, let's get on the same page. So in Blades in the Dark, during downtime, that's when characters will heal themselves. That's when they engage in their vices and will engage in other aspects of the world to prepare for their next heist. So they'll put their ear to the ground. They might interrogate other gang members. They might want to expand their territory. They want to pay off. Um, they want to bribe, threaten, cajole, uh, things like that. Downtime activities. And what happens is during downtime, players can gain benefits for their character and or their crew to help them with their next mission. And I wish there were some other games that feel like downtime is a major aspect, that instead of having 100% of the things on your character sheet, maybe you have like 70 to 80% of the things on your character sheet. The rest of it is mutable during downtime. And so whether you are going to a library to study, or you are hiring retainers, or you're honing your sword skills for the next adventure or something like that, maybe those things could have actually been better by putting them into downtime, so that my character who is sharpening their blade all the time and perfecting their sword skill, um, finds a new teacher, or gets in yet another duel or whatever, to gain another benefit, so that when we go on this next adventure, I happen to be a better duelist, numerically, mechanically. Matilda was a bit clam in a downtime, but she used to prepare a few situations for other players besides her arcane experiments. I love that idea. And it also, I think, the downtime in Blades in the Dark allows us to mix, match, combine, and flow some of the numerical values from one player to another, so that it's very organic and mutable, right? The player that is not very good at being in a social situation could, in downtime, get a new pair of clothes, learn from one of the players that's a noble how to speak and act. And so now, because of downtime, now they have this temporary bonus that allows them to fit into high society, when normally this player would not normally be able to do such a thing. And same thing when it comes, you're talking there, Amon, like about if you are a alchemist, herbalist, apothecary, chemist, uh, etc., and you prepare a couple of concoctions, maybe something to pour into someone's drink to get them to be a little loose-lipped, or to knock them out, or to poison someone. And normally your character doesn't have this thing, but putting it into downtime is kind of cool. We had a time skip of 2 months, and so she tried to help another character with the aftermath of the last event and created her own spell with their help. See, that's sweet. That's sweet. I like that. I like that a lot. And I mean, it kind of makes narrative sense. Like, what would the players be doing in their downtime, right? It's like, of course, they would be making plans and doing things. And Blades in the Dark really embraces the guess what? Players going to plan, right? You know, PC's gonna plan things. Why not incorporate that into the game? Which leads me to the very last thing, not for today, and that are clocks. I can't believe I didn't bring this up at first. I love clocks. Now, clocks have been around for forever. Clocks are basically time schedules. That was the animator teddy bear she made at the time because Nightmares During the Adventure. Yeah, my teddy bear is going to protect me as it goes stomping down the street 25 feet tall. That'd be funny. That's awesome. Someone goes to grab the teddy bear and they think it's like a small kid's toy. They throw it off to the side, like, "Hi, my name is Teddy," and they're like, "Stop following me!" As it sits over their bed with a knife in their hand, taps them on the forehead with the knife. "Hi, my name is Teddy." No. Police are there, like, "Sorry, we found a dead body. I don't know. There was a teddy bear and a sharp knife. I don't think anybody was here." Police officer takes the teddy bear. "I'm going to take this home. You know you need to put that in evidence." "Oh, come on. It's just an innocent teddy bear. What's the big deal?" Police officer found scraping his skin off of his face and body. Anyway, yeah, I mean, it's the idea of like clocks, tension timers, sometimes we can call them, whatever the case may be. Clocks are really yeah, there you go. Yeah, tension timers are awesome in Blades in the Dark. And what I like about clocks in Blades in the Dark, of course, being Victorian and the idea of having like a watchtower, a clock tower, people having, ye olden days having a pocket watch on a chain, which um, yeah. Yeah, I agree with you there. Yeah, illusion magic is real, and especially if it's used judiciously. Illusion magic is actually pretty damn powerful because it's very narrative in games, and I love it. Yeah, someone who's very good at a player who's very creative at using illusion magic can get away with a lot of bullshit. Um, there's ways to guardrail that too, but sometimes players want to do a thing, and you don't want to say no, but you're saying you can't do it immediately. There are other times when you want to say, hey, to the players, listen, you you guys are badasses, I get it, but I, as the game master, want to illustrate to you that if you keep doing this thing, you keep spamming this idea, it's going to get you in trouble. And clocks are really like that. And so in Blades in the Dark, you have clocks. Imagine a pie cut into like segments of 4, 6, 8, 12. Does right. I think 12 is like the highest they prefer. But you have these clocks, and um, the clock goes off when the thing certain circumstances happen. So for the players, for the good of the players, sometimes players will want to gain an advantage of some sort, and you as a game master or dungeon master, narrator, whoever, it's like, well, listen, okay, I don't want to tell you no, but you can't do it immediately. So, yes, the clock. So clocks can be attached to damn near anything. Clocks are basically just time running down, right? It's in every single television and movie we've ever seen. Many times there's a clock in the background, and I don't mean a physical clock. What I mean is that, let's say you have a player who just wants to beat ass, and the player is very good at they've structured their character to just beat ass all the time. But you want the player to understand you cannot spam this ability all the time. So you go, hey, guess what? You're down in the sewer. It's flooding with water. There's giant alligators down there. I understand you as a player can beat ass on giant alligators in sewers because that's your thing, right? Yeah, the moon slowly crashes the planet. Yeah, yeah. Guess what? This sewer system is flooding with water. Oh, let me make it more complicated. There's an iron grate at the end of this sewer tube, so when it floods up, you're between a rock, the locked gate, and a hard place, giant alligators. What do you do? And we know that this is a 6 point clock. When it reaches number 6, you're drowning. Like, I'm not telling you that you might drown. I'm telling you that you're going to drown. You're dead. You're going to drown. What are you doing to absolve this thing? And yeah, Billy Badass might say, okay, for one hand, I'm going to step in front of those giant alligators and fight them off while my allies get that iron grate, unlock the gate by either banging it down or blocking it or whatever, so we can get the hell up out of here. Okay. Um, yeah, the alligators aren't the problem here. The rising water level might be. Exactly. Exactly. And you clocks are easy to throw in. The thing is that some in a many other role-playing games, they don't associate the two. In Blades in the Dark, they are associated, meaning like if you want to tell the players you are going to be surrounded by too many city guards, you put a clock on the table. Sometimes you could put a clock down and you don't even let the players know what that clock means. And they go, shit, like, okay, the hairs on my back, the hair on the back of my arms are rising. I get that cold chill down my neck, but something is going to happen. We're in the city bazaar, and we smell food, and there's kids running around. What's happening? And you as a game master, tick, tick, tick. What's supposed to happen? Tick, tick, tick. And then when that thing happens, and that thing could be environmental, floodwaters, fires, collapses. It could be mechanical in nature. A trap is sprung. Walls are put up. The doors are locked. All the torches are blown out. The alarm goes off. Those could be mechanical things. Yep. Inspector Brains at an operation. Sometime overgrown lizards come at me. Yeah. Yeah. So funny, so funny. So yeah, clocks are a thing, and you can have dueling clocks too. Hey, we're going to Assassin's Creed parkour free run our way across all the rooftops to get the hell out of the city. Great, that sounds awesome. You run, jump, dodge, dive, roll, swing, climb, scamper across the city. But the city guards are going to surround you. There's a 4 point clock. When it reaches 0, you've been surrounded. Your hands up, held by the city guards. There's no way to escape. Great. Okay. And then instead of having, let's fight till we get all the hit points down to 0, what you can establish are stakes. You're captured. You're hunted. You're on the run. You're surrounded. You've lost the deal. You've lost sight of your prey, your bounty that you've been hunting. You do not commit the assassination. You the players cannot um, sail to the island because of the storm front or something. So many different things. The corruption spreads throughout your body. The poison spreads through your body, and you collapse completely paralyzed. And the dark spirits grab your ankles and drag you away. Like, you can set up a clock for nearly anything. Now, on the good side, the players could be like, I want these new things. I want new chemicals. Hey, I set chemical reactions in my lab. When's it going to go off? All right, put down a 6 point clock. When it reaches 0, your lab experiment has finished. You can go back and get your undetectable poison. Great. Okay, good. Right. Yeah. The drink the noble offered you was spiked with poison. Exactly. And here's a clock. You succumb to the poison when that clock is done. All right, I'm gonna fight my way out. I'm gonna run. I'm gonna jump out the window. I'm gonna block. I'm gonna try to get away from here as far as possible to get back to someone who can heal me from this poison. I need an antidote, right? There have been movies based around. I remember there was an old Kiefer Sutherland movie. I think it was called DOA, or where like in 24 hours he's dead. The Crank movies are a perfect example of a ticking clock. Player, I swapped out the glasses. Tick, 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 tick. Yeah, flashback. I swapped out the glasses. Now the enemy drank that poison, right? Yeah, hell yeah. I knew a DM who would set an alarm clock on the table without context, only to start a celebration part only to start a celebration party starts at the town hall. Yeah, tick, 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 tick. But you know what? The funny thing about that is it could be we're alone in the dark alleys, no one's here, and maybe party goers spill out of a nightclub, and now there's a crowd in the street, or there's like a religious ceremony going on, and the players are like, "Shit, we didn't expect this. Oh no." Yep. Escape from New York had a poison clock. That's right. That's right. Time is still ticking. Yeah. Yep. 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 Absolutely. And Blades in the Dark has let's I don't want to say revolutionize, has now, yeah, now guards are after you for assassination of a noble. Tick, 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 tick. And you can have very long clocks, like the noble family is eating itself from within, and when that noble family finally succumbs to all their machinations, there'll be a new regime taking over. Maybe a new crime boss took over or something. Now maybe the players can't do anything about those clocks, which is possible, but at least they know it's on the horizon. Maybe they go, yeah, we don't care about the noble family, they're assholes. This new crime boss that takes over, we can deal with, because at least this crime boss is semi-reasonable, so we're fine. And you as a game master might go, okay, well, they just ignored that one, but that means things change, whatever. And then later on, maybe the remnants of that noble family go to the player characters and like, we got money and we have some influence. We need you to put us back in power. And now the players go, ooh, this is an opportunity. And that's how Blades in the Dark is able to have a no prep session, and yet it feels like there's been lots of preparation. So as a game master, we can iceberg this thing, right? I wasn't sure what the players were going to do, but if I put a clock out, it may even give me time to think of the new complication that might spring up. Because maybe I put a clock down, I don't name it, and I go, and in the back of my head, I'm like, "Fuck, I don't know what I'm gonna do next." And I'm looking around um at books and things, and I'm like, what is that, a novel? Hey, what's on Netflix? BRB. I'll be right back, and go to the bathroom. You get on your phone and start scrolling. You're like, da 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 da. Oh, that's right. The Morlocks come out of the tunnels. Morlocks. Okay, they're not going to be Morlocks. I'm going to give them a really cool name. And then all of a sudden, like the players are, yep. But in 10 minutes, yeah. Hey, listen. Sometimes your best ideas come out when you're pinching a loaf. You know what I mean. Sometimes you just gotta listen. You got to drop a log in the river, right? Lemonade and Snickers bars. Sometimes it just happens, and you're like, "Wait a minute, I've got a great idea right here." Ah, ooh, yeah, ooh, wow. Sorry, scatological humor. So, guys, thank you very much for being part of the show. I really appreciate it. It is a holiday here in the States at this time. It is Veterans Day. I was going to do something about Veterans Day, but I don't think I could give as much honor to the veterans that have given of their life and time for their service. But it is Veterans Day here in the States, and appreciate their dedication. So guys, thank you very much for being part of the show. I really appreciate it. I'm holding you far too long. Have a great day. We are going to talk about many things. What's tomorrow? Tuesday. Tomorrow is AbTab Tuesday. Maybe we'll talk about Iscloth. The yeah, yeah, yeah. We'll talk about Iscloth, the the Viking inspired tabletop role playing game from a heavily massaged fifth edition. So yeah, we'll do that because it's kind of dark and kind of dark, kind of dreary, and I like it. So guys, thank you very much for being part of the show. I hope you've been inspired. I really do, and have a great day. I appreciate it. Thank you very much for being here, and you guys know the usual. Let's get out of here and let you guys have a great one. Peace and tranquility.